Hey, War Pugs. So, as we've been watching a Fan with Too Much Time series on Star Wars for 40K, a lot of people have been wondering, what do the classes of Psyker really mean? What can they do? What are they capable of? Everything like that. Now, there's a lot of lore about them, and I haven't really caught up with the grades of Psyker. Just as far as, how many are there? I know that there were some added in a lore series, not in a thing, at some point in the distance past. I don't know, guys, but Captain Nero Tybalt of the Blood Angels requested every single tier psyker explained by an Australian, and this is from Majorkill. Now, hello, Cat. Majorkill is going to answer this question for us. Now, at some point, I might make something about this. I just don't know. It's going to be when I have the willpower to work on lore videos again. Because right now, it is kind of done and dusted for me for a little bit. I'm kind of burnt out a little bit on that. So, if you've noticed, Hi. If you noticed, I've been doing a little bit other things other than lore videos for a little while. Eventually, I do hope to go back into it, but right now, it's a time thing for me. It's just a sheer time dedication thing when I don't have a lot of time to spare to begin with. But we're gonna get into this. Let's learn about the different classes of psychers. I'm going to pop this over here. I'm not going to boomer this. And yeah, of course it does that. Of course it flips that off. There we go. Great. Good, good, and let's go. Guys, Majorkill is by far one of my favorite sources for lore because I think lore that is not funny is... It has its place, but there's a certain way that I like to actually learn things. And Majorkill is one of those people that provide it. Like, Panker Snowworks is one of my favorite YouTubers for learning about lore that I don't already know. And Majorkill falls in that line for Warhammer 40K. And this cat will not stop bothering me. Guys, let's go. let's just go.
Things in life, there are levels.
Yes.
A low dose of Austrian is not the same level of enhancement as a mega dose of Tren. Punching someone in the shoulder is not the same level of assault as a double fly kick to the face.
True.
Being able to magically tell when someone is feeling sad is not the same level of psychic power as being able to turn a planet inside out because you accidentally sharted during an especially powerful sneeze. The point is, there are numerous tiers of psychers, from people that don't even know they're a wizard to people who are literally gods in all but name, all of whom have their own share of advantages and disadvantages. After all, the more powerful the psyker, the more demons want to puppet their flesh and devour their souls.
This is the
Before we
case.
get started, my personal trick to being healthy is by figuring out ways I can put in the absolute minimum amount of effort for the absolute maximum amount of results. And nothing helps me achieve this more than today's sponsor, AG1. Like a fair amount of sponsors on
Can you leave me alone for like 5 minutes? Okay, get out of here.
this channel, I was actually a customer of AG1 before they reached out. That is because it is quite literally the most comprehensive, maxed out, and surprisingly yummy
It's going to be in the description,
I've ever
guys.
had. It basically has all the vitamins and minerals you need to maximize your nutrition. Some standouts to me include the zinc, magnesium, and ashwagandha. All of these ingredients have been proven to support testosterone levels. I mean, I literally get my blood work done every year, and my testosterone was as low as 250 in 2021, with my most recent tents now up to 480. Almost double. Obviously,
Nice.
that's not entirely AG1's doing, but I wasn't taking it in 2021, and I've been taking it regularly in 2023. Sure, you could argue that a completely whole food diet, where you get a massive variety of fruits, vegetables, and random roots and barks every day, would be better than a powder, but as I said, maximum health, minimum effort.
Right, and the thing about it is, it's a thing that, for me, I used to be a lot healthier than I am now. In fact, that's something that I hope to fix at some point, where I can sit there and start focusing on my health a lot more than I've been able to do recently. I think getting out of the place that I'm in right now is going to go a long way to that, but that's neither here nor there. Let's keep going.
Personally find my focus, energy, and sleep is better on AG1, which allows me to be a lot more productive. So to get started, use my link below, which will get you an additional year's supply of vitamin D3K2, as well as 5 travel packs for free when you pick up any of the AG1 bundles.
Hey, there you go.
Cheers to AG1 for sponsoring this video. Today we'll go over each tier of Psyker in Warhammer 40k, as well as provide examples of who fits into what tier. The tier system was designed by the Imperium for human Psykers, however we can try and slot in what tier the Elder or Orcs would also fit into. Let's get into it.
Let's go.
Every person is rated on the psychic scale by a system called the assignment, even non-psychers, as they are considered to be Rho or Pi. I mean, fuck, the scale actually goes below normal.
Yes.
With the Sigma and Tau class being considered to be so devoid of psychic potential that they are often oblivious to it and have a degree of immunity from it. Going even deeper, beneath that is the Upsilon tier, which are people who are kind of like half blanks with various degrees of immunity to the warp. Before then we descend to the Omega class, blanks like Sisters of Silence. There's actually a level beneath Omega,
Yes.
saved for shit like high-tier Calexis Assassins or the best of the Sisters of Silence. These anti-psyker tiers are called the negative psionic levels. Before we now get into the actually positive psionic tiers, how do they test for it? Do they draw blood? Do they stick a finger up the arse then sniff it? Although psychic talent can be detected through biology, it's more based on what is actually seen or said. A dude shooting lightning out of his dick hole and then getting railed by a demon, probably a Gamma or Beta class.
Yes.
Someone who wins 80% of coin flips on the other hand is closer to Omicron. Now, not to confuse everyone, there are a shitload of psyker tiers, with many of them being grouped into a similar level. For example, whilst Omicron represents latent psychic ability that will often go unnoticed for a person's entire lifetime, Z, Nu, Mu, Lambda, and Kappa class all exist and are pretty similar in terms of power.
True.
Omicron may be more lucky than a normal person, whilst the Kappa may be able to sense people's feelings in detail as a basic sort of mind reading, or they might be able to create a spark by flicking their fingers. So to keep it simple, I'll be grouping all these like subclasses and subtiers into the one class and tier, although I will mention the names of the other ones in case you ever encounter it in the lore and want something to reference it to.
So this is going to give a good explanation. I knew this was going to be good as far as providing information, but he's really going in depth into this. So it's going to be a brief summary, guys. It's going to be a brief summary because, you know, it is what it is. But at the same time, if you were looking for that information, here it is.
Without further fucking around, the first tier is the one I literally just talked about, represented by Omicron. Psychers of this level will usually go their entire life without knowing that they are actually special, only really finding out if they are detected by another psyker and then trained, or if they are put into a super high stressful situation, which then causes low-level psyker powers to materialize. This level of psyker are never really hunted by the Sisters of Silence or Black Ships, as they pose no real threat to the Imperium and are super hard to detect.
Right.
Although they can become sanctioned psychers, it's a bit of a cop-out as they can do fuck all to begin with. However, in saying that, they often make great inquisitorial candidates due to enhanced senses, intuition, and a greater capacity for willpower and mental fortitude. The next tier is where the term psyker actually becomes relevant, that being the Iota class. However, the Theta and Eta are also in this level of tier. These are considered to be true psychers who can, with a bit of elbow grease, manifest psychic powers. Maybe no chain lightning out of the dick hole or being able to shut so hard that you can double jump, but still quite solid. The Imperium is actually a fan of the Iota class, as they are often very stable and easy to train and control. They also aren't too difficult to take out if they go rogue. Often there'd be no need for a blank or Sister of Silence, as if you just shoot them from 2 angles, the likelihood of them being able to double kind shield is pretty low. After that, we now have the Zeta tier, which ranges from Zeta to Epsilon. I would class this tier as the moderate psyker tier. They have a natural affinity with their abilities, often able to tap into them prior to being found or trained, and their abilities can really fuck you up. It's not enough for them to go crazy or become a demonic fleshlight, but in fits of anger they can hurt and kill those around them, often leading to them being outcasted and becoming dangerous exiles, and rogues that become twisted not through the warp, but because of the cards life has dealt them. In these situations, a blank would ideally be called in to help come kill the rogue psyker, as this is the level where they can spam fireballs and shit. An example.
Yeah, at this point, this is where you start gathering a little bit of interest from the Inquisition. They don't want you to be out on your own. They don't want you to be off the beaten path here. If you start screwing around, you're going to find out very, very quickly that the Imperium doesn't play with this kind of thing.
of Zeta to Epsilon class Psyker would be Patience Kiss, a telekine who was very adept in telekinesis. She would use her abilities to either create kind shields or levitate various extremely sharp blades and then attack you with them. Through training, she's become a very powerful and very deadly inquisitorial agent, although she was able to use her abilities prior to being found. In his early career, Inquisitor Eisenhorn was also classed as a Zeta or Epsilon Psyker, perhaps even a tier below at Eta, due to his powerful mental psychic abilities, but lack of ability to manifest them as stuff like fire or lightning, at least not until later in his life where he became overpowered as fuck. Next up we have the Delta tier, which ranges from Delta to Gamma.
Now Delta tier Psychers are, if you're looking for the one that should be most commonly found as a sanctioned Psyker, this would be the one that you'd be looking at. In fact, I believe the story in Star Wars vs. 40K, the Psyker that basically held up a city was this level.
This is the final tier where the Imperium believes you can be a stable Psyker and an asset to the Emperor. Any higher than this and you have a high chance of mental instability and demons would be crowding around your soul like a bunch of teenagers around Sky Breed.
Right.
Even at this level, you still have a lot of risks and need to be found early to have a genuine chance of becoming a fully stable servant of the Emperor. A lot of Primaris battle Psychers are around the Delta to Gamma class and use their gifts to massive effect on the battlefield, creating large shields, throwing tanks around, and the like. This is also the tier when you can officially start shooting lightning out of your dickhole, so congratulations on that one. The legendary Inquisitor Gideon Ravenor was considered to be a Delta to Gamma class Psyker. However, when he was severely burnt and placed into a life support hover chair that had psychic amplifiers on it, his power increased to become Beta or Alpha, with someone even once referencing him as Alpha Plus in the lore. I disagree with that rating, but Gideon has done some pretty dope shit with his mind, including firing a psychic turbo laser, possessing his allies from kilometers away and turning them into super soldiers while he does so, and resisting the psychic attack of multiple Chaos Space Marine sorcerers at once. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Eisenhorn was also considered to be a Delta or Gamma class Psyker when he forged his heretical staff, thus allowing him to really start manifesting devastating powers, even once perma-killing a demon due to a power overload, something that is incredibly hard to do.
Yes.
Orc Weird Boys can also be considered to be around this level, although as I said, the scale was only designed for humans. Now we get to the spicy naughty tiers.
Yay.
First up with the Beta tier, which ranges from Beta to Alpha. This level of Psyker is extremely rare. After all, the previous tier of Delta to Gamma only happened for 1 in a billion births, so imagine how rare this one would be. As a general rule of thumb, the human body is not suitable to be an Alpha tier Psyker. Even Beta tier is too high for most people, but Alpha is really rough. Even if found early and trained, more often than not, this level of Psyker will either accidentally kill themselves or go insane from the pressure of the warp on their brain. However, not everyone can't handle being an Alpha. Some Psychers of this level have the willpower to maintain their sanity and can end up doing pretty great things for the Imperium. If you know, the Sisters of Silence don't slice their balls off and feed them to the Emperor first.
Right.
Beta is about as high as Eisenhorn is right now.
So most of the Psychers that wound up getting sacrificed to the Emperor are going to be these higher tier grade of Psychers. Gamma, Epsilon, Beta, Alpha. When they get found, if they can be captured, they're captured and fed to the Emperor. Not literally, spiritually.
Especially after he recently managed to kill a fucking Chaos Dreadnought with his sword, whilst Ravenor could be considered to be Alpha at most. These are two very exceptional men who had to level up to reach this tier, so as you can imagine the challenge of some kid who was born like this. At the Alpha level, a Psyker could cause calamity, massive earthquakes, firestorms, mass psychosis, you name it. They are also a yummy treat for demons who will attempt to use them as living warp portals in which they could invade a world from. In terms of the Elder Farseers and Warlocks, they would be around this tier as their biology is significantly more suitable towards being a Psyker. After that now, we have the Alpha Plus tier. Leap and bound more powerful than even the Alpha tier.
Right.
These Psychers are fucked and in almost every case, crazy as hell. Fortunately, most of them manage to kill themselves due to how raw and over the top their power is, but if they're able to survive long enough for Chaos to find them, it can be pretty problematic, since Alpha Plus Psychers can blow up Titans with a thought, cause the death of entire worlds, and summon legions of demons without effort. Whenever an Alpha Plus Psyker is identified, elite kill teams of Sisters of Silence supported by significant inquisitorial elements are sent to go kill them. If possible, they will capture them, as being able to study an Alpha Plus Psyker would be nuts, but most of the time that's impossible. If you wonder why the lore rarely ever features Alpha Plus Psychers, it's because A, they are rare as hell, B, if they do get born, they often die very quickly due to their own power consuming them, and C, even if they do survive, they are super hard to train. Hence, most of their power is locked away as they don't have the mental discipline to access it.
Right.
The very, very, very rare times there's an Alpha Plus Psyker that's trained and can access all their power is when very problematic shit happens.
Massively. Alpha Plus Psychers, they are capable of outright wizardry. They are capable of some feats of insanity that are just beyond the pale. We never see that though because, like he said, most of the time they're going to wind up killing themselves by accident. They're going to wind up doing something that attracts the attention of everyone around them because you, as I've said before, when you're a psyker, you're whatever grade you are from birth. You don't regress or anything like that. You're that way from birth. And welcome to the shit show because you're in it.
This may surprise you, but the Psyker power tier lists actually go higher than this.
Yes.
After all, the Emperor exists, and he would squash an Alpha Plus Psyker with a thought. However, the tier system gets a bit confusing. After Alpha Plus, it starts to go back down the list, but gets more powerful. Hence, a Beta Plus Psyker is stronger than an Alpha Plus, while a Gamma Plus Psyker is stronger than a Beta Plus, and so on. There is pretty much no reference in the lore to confirmed Beta Plus Psykers and stronger, other than people like Malkador, who may have just been a trained Alpha Plus with the added benefit of being a Perpetual, or the Emperor, who is the fucking Emperor. However, it does state that a Gamma...
The Emperor is always, in every way, shape, or... in most lore is called an Alpha Plus, but there really isn't a scale for him. The Emperor is to an Alpha to your standard Alpha Plus what your standard Alpha Plus is to a baseline human.
Gamma Plus is the highest tier ever registered, maybe that being because of the Emperor. Psychers like Ahriman, Magnus the Red, and Mephiston would easily be above Alpha Plus, probably around the Beta Plus or Gamma Plus for Magnus. Technically, the scale goes even higher, with Delta Plus, Epsilon Plus, and so on, all the way to Omega Plus, which is so retardedly powerful it's not even fathomable. Like, I don't even think the old ones were that powerful. It's theorized that Zeta Plus is the highest level of a psyker that can physically exist within living tissue, but at that level, you'd be a vegetable that would probably just explode after being born. If you were somehow able to live and control your powers, I'd expect you'd be able to pluck stars from the sky and throw them across the galaxy. So that's the tier list, but I want to quickly brush up on Librarians and where they fit, as they all seem to be very powerful. Easily Delta and above. But is that because the Legions only choose that level, or does becoming a Space Marine enhance a Psyker's power? Well, often a Psyker has to limit their own power lest they self-immolate or get railed by demons. However, a Space Marine's body can withstand significantly more pressure, with their mind being significantly more shielded from possession in the warp. So a Zeta tier Psyker who could push themselves to Delta, but would probably die in the attempt, would suddenly be able to comfortably be a Delta if they became a Space Marine due to their mind's and body's newfound ability to withstand more pressure, if that makes sense. So yes, becoming a Space Marine will enhance a Psyker's power and potential. If you enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel, then subscribe. It's free, easy, and tickles my pickle. Join the next one. Peace.
Okay, hold on. He has... Oh, wait. Okay, so let me give this cat the attention that they've been begging for the entire time. Come here, you. Come here, you. Oh. Yes, War Crime Cat. War Crime Cat. Look at this thing. Look at her. This is Celestine. And Celestine is a very happy cat. Well, most times. She if you ever hear growling in the background, she's the one doing it. And it's mostly because she's pissed off at Latara. She gets angry at Latara. But she is my war crime cat. She is one of the two. But... really? Anyhow. So... there is no gay... We often say the Emperor is Alpha Plus Psyker, but he's actually well past that. He's well past that. And the sheer fact of the matter is, with him being on the throne for as long as he's been on the throne, his essence is still contained in a corporeal body. So really, we have no idea how strong the Emperor is on the psychic scale now. I mean, there's really no way to tell if he were able to pull all of his consciousness back into a single body. he may very well be too powerful to do that now. He may very well be too powerful to do that now. But when you're looking at how strong the Emperor actually is compared to everything else, when the Great Crusade was happening, he was most definitely strong enough to, well, do pretty much anything he wanted. Cat, will you stop? You're distracting me. You are distracting me so much. Do you realize that? Are you okay? You want to talk about it? The hospitaler wanted cats, and I wound up getting them. Isn't that the way it works? War pugs, I'm going to head out from here. Don't be a psyker. It attracts all kinds of unwanted attention. But if you do find yourself being one, get sanctioned. Other than that, feed the Emperor. All of Majorkill's links are going to be in the description down below, including my own, including my Patreon, and merch. So if you guys want any of that, go ahead and pop on down there and say hey. Until next time, though.